Hi there, Wes Hansen, President and CEO of Thunder Gold Corp. I'm here again today to tell you by video, give you a little greater detail on our recently released results from our Phase 2 drill program at Tower Mountain. This time we're going to take a look at the A target, which sits on the western contact zone of the Tower Mountain intrusive complex. And if you recall or have seen the other videos, the pink and purple lines are basically represent different phases of the Tower Mountain intrusive complex. It is perfectly matched or mapped by airborne mag. The dashed red line basically shows your area of mag high, which is coincident, generally coincident with the Tower Mountain intrusive complex rocks of interest. The A target was previously drilled, but it was open in both directions, and we thought it was a good idea to close that off, particularly given the historical grades, which were quite high. So we're going to dive into the details here. Turn a few things off. We don't need to see this is a soil geochem underlay. Again, you can see the A target sits right there on a rather large, prominent golden soil anomaly that was identified in late 2024. So it's basically pointing us in a bullseye direction. So no great exploration shakes here by any stretch of the imagination. So we'll temporarily turn that off. We'll turn on some drilling. So here's all of the historical drilling. Actually, before we do that, let's back up. We'll turn on the rock sampling. So you can see a huge cluster. If we start to zoom in on that A target, you can see a significant cluster of surface rock samples, very similar to the P target. Grades anywhere from 0.1 all the way up to 16.2 grams per ton at the A target. It was actually an outcrop that we stripped off and sampled extensively, so no surprise there. We'll turn those rock values off. In 2021, we drilled, or the company drilled those targets that at the A target that were developed from the surface stripping. It's got some spectacular results. The two edge holes, the first hole drilled is this one. Actually, I can turn on to help everybody see what's going on. I'm just going to quickly turn on the drill hole labels so this will all make sense to us. So 108 is kind of one hole that was kind of it was drilled and nobody ever followed up farther to the south on that particular hole, and we felt that they should have. So 21-108 intersected or reported 3.94 grams over 23.8 meters starting at the collar from surface. And the other hole farther to the north, 21-117, this guy right here, it intersected 1.3 grams per ton over 30 meters, and you can see it's wide open to the north again. And I'm just going to turn the soil geochem back on so you can see there's opportunities to expand that, certainly to the northwest, opportunities to trace it further to the southeast. Turn that back off again, turn on our rock samples. Again, you've got rock samples up in this area, you've got a cluster of interesting results here, but generally speaking, nothing in the area of interest. If the A target follows the same overall trend that we're observing at the P target, which is on the opposite side of the intrusion, then we believe that we can chase this thing in both directions, and particularly to the southeast, coming down here to what we call the 110 target. And again, just nothing but empty space. So empty space is good space, particularly if you're drilling beside a rather significant mineralized zone. So turn the drilling back on. Our newest holes, actually, I'll turn off the historical holes. So the holes we drilled basically we've drilled 4 holes at the A target, a 50-meter step out to the northwest, a 50-meter step back to come underneath that hole 108, which had the 3.94 grams over 23.8 meters, and then a 50-meter step out hole to the south. And that's the hole that we intersected a rather significant fragment of visible gold in. Very nice piece of visible gold, nice dendritic associated with some millimeter scale quartz veins, but that's not, I repeat, that's not the story we're chasing here. you know, it provided some decent values, which you'll see when we look in further in this video. But, you know, I think our bread and butter is to develop the large tonnage, low grade asset. And we have plenty of that, and it's easy to find, and it's easy to drill off. So that's our focal point going forward. There's all the drill holes. I'm going to turn off this soil geochem temporarily, and let's take a look at a section right through this hole, which is the hole 175 that comes directly underneath hole 108, and we'll take a sectional view or a slice through that. So this, oh, something's wrong. Just bear with me a second. Gonna have to zoom out, come back and start over. My apologies. So we'll take a section through here. It's a vertical section, so we're gonna do a vertical section and we're gonna look this way. We're gonna look to the southeast, okay? And it's gonna rotate. Gonna turn off some of the fluff that's at a zero elevation, etc., like the rock types and the claim limit, just so people aren't being confused by those things. And we'll zoom right in, and we'll look at the section. So this is the A target over here. This is some of the bench which shows up on that A target, and there may be a relationship there, but we can look at that in greater detail later. We're going to narrow up the view window, so we have the holes of interest. There's 21-108. Just going to make that just a little wider, so it's a 50-meter wide window. There's 21-119. I don't have the values for that off the top of my head, but there's a decent intercept in that. You can see it with the reds and the purples. And then the hole we drilled, this guy is 175. So hole 175, just to set the results for you. Basically, the highlight intercept in hole 175 was from 39 to 72 meters, so 33 meters at 0.78, and logically that's going to line up with this interval here, starting from the green and ending down here at the orange. So a nice wide interval, some high grades on the flanks, and in the middle, nothing as spectacular, nothing above 5 grams per ton like what we see in the original hole 108 and hole 119, which is almost 100 meters away to the north. But a very solid run, a very solid intercept in that particular hole, and we're quite pleased with that. And I'm just going to widen the window and take you out to hole 176, which is this guy right here. So this is, now you're 50 meters ahead, and I'm going to, actually I apologize, I'm going to come back down, narrow that window down, and we'll just step out 50 meters farther to the southeast. And this is hole 176. This is the hole that intercepted 927 grams in the fire assay. We did a screen metallic assay on that got 327 grams. Basically the screen metallics are the more accurate assay, so we use that in reporting our intervals. And if we go to hole 176, you can see the details here. At a 0.25 cutoff, it intersected 25.5 meters, averaging 13.18. But that's, you know, let's be honest here, that's carried by a 1 meter sample of 327 grams per ton. If you were to process that and cap that at, say, 30 grams a ton, then you're probably got an average interval grade of in the range of, you know, 1.5 grams per ton. It indicates that the zone is continuous in that direction, and it indicates we should chase it further in that direction. And very pleased with the results of a 50-meter step-out hole at that particular location. So again, we're talking about this hole here. You can see my cursor moving, and that's hole 176, and we are very pleased with the results of that one. So let's take a closer look at the results for each of the holes. This is just a side-by-side comparison of each hole, 174, 175, 176. The blue tones basically are above a cutoff grade of 0.1 to a maximum of 0.25. Green is 0.25 all the way up to 0.5. Yellow is 0.5 to a gram. Red is 1 to 5 grams, and anything that's the magenta, the hot magenta tone, is above 5 grams per ton. Very rare at Tower Mountain. Here you can see the result in 176 from 24 to 25 meters. The original fire assay was 997 grams. The subsequent screen metallic assay was 327 grams. And, that's the more accurate assay to use in this particular instance. So that's the one we use to calculate our averages. But what you notice is just, especially in hole 176, above a 0.1 cutoff grade, that's a pretty long interval of consistent mineralization. And if some of that stuff is going to run 0.1 to 0.3, but some of it's probably going to run 0.3 all the way up to a gram per ton. If you were to step out 25 meters away from this hole, you could get perhaps radically different results, more similar results to what we see at the original drilling. So, same consistency at 175. Basically, you can see all three holes. The mineralization starts at surface and continues, for 15 meters in this particular hole. At this one, the mineralized zone of interest starts basically at 42 meters and carries all the way down to 72. That's a nice interval run. And then the high-grade hole, again, very close to surface, 13.5 meters to 37.5 meters is probably that sweet spot. So very pleased with the results at the A target. We accomplished our goal and objective at the A target, which basically was to extend the zone. We extended it in 3 directions, to the northwest, to the southeast, and to the southwest as well, by drilling under that hole 108. So stay tuned. We'll have further videos later to advise you on some of the other results from that drill program.